I'm 27, male, and I've always been the type to plan ahead. I worked hard, graduated high school with honors, and got accepted into my dream college. My parents set up a college fund for me years ago, something they've been talking about since I was a kid. The plan was simple. I'd go to college, graduate debt-free, and build a future. But that didn't happen. It started 2 years ago. My sister, who's 5 years older than me, had always been the family's wild card. She'd make impulsive decisions, rack up credit card debt, and then find ways to charm her way out of trouble. I'll admit, I envied how easily she seemed to escape consequences while I was the one who always had to be the responsible one. One day, out of the blue, my dad sat me down. He had this look, half guilt, half panic. "I need to tell you something," he started, his voice low. I braced myself. "What is it?" "Well, we had to use your college fund. Your sister was in some serious financial trouble. Credit cards, car loans, we had no other choice." I just stared at him, waiting for the punchline. When it didn't come, I felt this cold wave hit me. You what? It was either that or she'd lose everything. She was being harassed by debt collectors. They threatened to sue her. He explained, almost like he wanted me to feel sorry for her. I didn't even know how to respond. "You used the money you promised me, money you saved for my education for screw-ups, and you didn't even tell me until now." My dad sighed. "We didn't want you to worry. We thought we could rebuild the fund, but things didn't go as planned." As I sat there trying to process, my mom chimed in. "She's your sister, and family helps family. You don't turn your back on your own blood." I stood up. "You turned your back on me," I snapped. "This was my future, my plan, and you threw it all away because she couldn't control herself." They had no real defense. My dad mumbled something about doing what we had to do, and my mom kept talking about how we're a family and we have to stick together. I walked out. Fast forward 2 years. I didn't go to my dream school. I worked full-time while attending a local community college, squeezing classes in between shifts. It was exhausting, but I was making it work. I learned not to expect anything from my parents, though I still felt the sting of betrayal every time I thought about it. Then a couple of months ago, I got another bombshell. My sister declared bankruptcy. Apparently, after my parents bailed her out, she went right back to her old habits. Maxed out new credit cards, took out payday loans. By the time she hit rock bottom, my parents were tapped out and couldn't help her anymore. I tried to stay out of it. She made her bed, right? But then my parents came to me. "We need your help," my mom said one evening over the phone. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe the audacity. "Help with what?" "With your sister," she said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "She's struggling, and we can't stand to see her like this. We were hoping you could loan us some money to help her get back on her feet." I actually had to sit down. "Are you serious? After everything that's happened, you want me to bail her out again? With what money?" "You've been doing well for yourself," my dad chimed in. "You're working, saving. It's not like you don't have the means." The anger bubbled up so fast I couldn't stop myself. "Are you kidding me? I have the means because I didn't blow my life savings on crap I didn't need. Because I worked my ass off. You expect me to just hand over my money to fix her mess again?" "She's your sister," my mom said, her voice pleading. "You don't understand how hard this has been for her." "No, I don't." I cut her off. "But you know what I do understand? Sacrifice, hard work, responsibility, all the things she's never had to deal with because you two keep enabling her." There was a long pause. Then my mom said, "I'm disappointed in you." That stung, but not enough to change my mind. I thought that was the end of it. I really did. But a week later, I found out my parents weren't taking no for an answer. They'd gone behind my back and told extended family that I was refusing to help poor, struggling sister. Suddenly, I was getting calls from aunts, uncles, even cousins, all telling me I was being selfish and ungrateful. One aunt actually said, "Your parents did so much for you, and this is how you repay them." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My parents had twisted the story to make it sound like I was some greedy Scrooge, hoarding my money while my sister suffered. No mention of the college fund. No mention of how they'd already bailed her out once. I finally had enough. I sent a group email to everyone involved, including my parents. In it, I laid out everything. How my college fund had been drained to pay off my sister's debts. How I'd been forced to work my way through school. how I'd said no to a loan because I refused to enable her anymore. I attached screenshots of texts from my parents admitting to using the fund and asking me for money again. The fallout was immediate. Some family members apologized, saying they hadn't known the full story. Others doubled down, accusing me of airing dirty laundry. My parents were furious. "You had no right to involve everyone," my mom screamed over the phone. "No," I shot back. "You had no right to lie about me to our family. You made this mess, and now everyone knows the truth. Deal with it." But I wasn't done. My parents and sister had spent years trying to manipulate and guilt me. Now, it was my turn to make them face the consequences. I contacted a lawyer to see if there was any way to recover the money they took from my college fund. The lawyer explained that because I was over 18 and the account had been in my parents' names, I didn't have a legal claim to it. Fine, but that didn't mean I couldn't make things difficult for them. My parents had co-signed several of my sister's loans back in the day, loans she had now defaulted on. I tipped off the creditors, letting them know exactly where they could find my parents. It wasn't long before debt collectors started calling them nonstop, threatening legal action if they didn't pay up. At the same time, I cut off all financial ties. My parents had a habit of borrowing money from me here and there, always promising to pay it back. Not anymore. I closed the joint savings account we'd shared since I was a teenager and moved all my money to a new bank. As for my sister, I reported her to her landlord for violating her lease agreement by subletting her apartment without permission. She'd been making extra cash by renting out a spare room under the table, which was against the lease terms. She was evicted within a month. My parents called me again recently. They were livid, accusing me of ruining the family and kicking them while they were down. "You ruined this family," I told them. "You chose her over me. You broke my trust, and now you're paying the price." They had no response. These days, I'm doing better than ever. I finished school, got a great job, and bought my first home. My parents and sister are still dealing with the fallout of their choices, and honestly, I don't feel sorry for them. Sometimes, you have to let people face the consequences of their actions. If you don't, they'll never learn. If you enjoyed this little tale of family drama and karma, hit that subscribe button. You wouldn't want to miss the next round of chaos.